Talks. Welcome to GoMovieTalks. This is our first episode. Freddy, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourselves? How's everything going?
Everything's going good. Everything's going good. And I have a very important question for you.
Yes, tell me about it.
Why Antichrist for the first episode?
You're right. I chose it. Okay. Um, Look, because it's a great movie. Okay. Let's face it. Besides the fact that it's great, and besides, why are you asking me? You're the one who hadn't watched it. I want to hear your opinion on the movie. That's pretty much also why I chose it first because I knew you hadn't watched it.
Yeah, baby. I hadn't watched it before. Honestly, I had some, I don't know, I blocked myself to watch that at the beginning because honestly, I am afraid of horror movies since I watched that movie I told you before. I don't remember the name, but as a matter of fact, I couldn't watch horror movies after my 20 something years because of that movie. And when I saw Antichrist, and I said it, and it's Lars Von Trier, it's like I could expect
But that's also part of
anything.
it. Like, do you still consider? I mean, after having watched it, do you still consider it to be mainly a horror movie?
No, no. I mean,
Okay, thank you.
it's not a conventional horror movie. I mean, it's
It's psychological horror, but again, it's not gore. It has gore. It's not mainly gore, but it has a purpose because when compared to most horror slashers, um, what you see, everything is intended to be analyzed, to be digested by the viewer. So I just find it to be, eh, besides fascinating, I think it's just worth watching because it has a message. And even more importantly, the visuals have intent. You can easily tell something's going on. Maybe you don't get it, but at first maybe, but eventually the movie unravels. But again, I want to hear more from you. I've watched that movie over 20, over 10 times for sure. So I want to hear from you who just watched it for the first time.
yeah, I guess I mean, the whole conception about horror, it's because human beings themselves are horrifying,
Hmm.
I guess that was this director's purpose, I mean, the whole human nature, it's itself horrifying. So that's why it is horror, not because it includes any artificial thing, or it makes you feel tense with a special addition of certain ornaments or anything. No, it's the drama itself, or the plot itself, that is horrifying, and it's ourselves, human nature.
I cannot say that I disagree, but I actually think it's even more specific. I mean, you and I know Lars von Trier has a thing for women, and I think it specifically focuses on the horrors of being a mother, specifically, because the whole movie just revolves around the fact that this lady is traumatized from the fact that but for the movie makes it look like that for, well, the whole trauma of the whole plot of the movie is this lady for once. Well, it's kind of weird just because the movie itself says the lady was just focusing on her sexual health for what the movie seems like the first time in a while. And Turns out, because she's focusing on it, uh, the baby falls off the window. So there is a lot implied there. She could have been, I mean, could she have been a better mother to the baby because she wasn't focusing on the baby instead of herself? Um, However, the
And
movie makes it look like she was aware when the baby was getting off the
exactly,
crib.
exactly.
So
At the end of the movie.
that is the important part. Exactly. She is a victim, but at the same time, is she? And that's where
Exactly.
that's where it catches you.
And is she being a victim of what? I mean, of society, of women expectation, you know? So
Yeah, all of
it's
it. Societal expectations of women from women, because that's the other part. We do have a male character, and I'm not gonna say he doesn't really play a part, but he literally is just a an enabler to her role. She is
exactly.
the one star there. She drives the whole plot. He he's needed for some key plots, the key points of the plot, but other than that, like, he's just uh again, and being the psychologist, it's very ironic because you would think he would
And you know,
he would know more.
the psychologist and at the same time her husband is like, mm,
Yes.
and the father of a child. Mm,
And but most importantly, he's a man. I think the movie
exactly.
focuses a lot on the fact that he's a man. He just doesn't get it.
It,
He's not.
exactly, and it's I guess the most important symbol of this movie is that she feels guilty just because of the fact that at that particular moment, those 4 seconds, she saw this baby doing something near the window. She was not expecting the baby to fall. She was having that much pleasure that she didn't stop.
She and again, this is something, I mean, it's heavily implied. She consciously chose not to stop. So
Exactly.
afterwards, just the guilt drives her crazy the entire movie.
Exactly. But notice how the that difference, men and women, it's reflected by the author. It's like,
Because for men, the standard is it is permissible, or society just does not care. I was going to say something else, but I'm being nice. This society doesn't care that men actually prioritize self pleasure over their responsibilities or whatever. Instead, women,
exactly. They
oh,
were both doing the same thing.
they were both doing the same thing. Yes.
The only particular thing is that she turned to the baby right before it fell out of the window. So
Well, that's the other part. That does is he aware? I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't think he was aware in the moment. So they're put in very different positions. The men, and I'm very judgmental of the male character still, just because he still chooses not to really be supportive of the lady, even though she clearly is depressed and she clearly feels guilty about the whole thing. And that, in her case, that guilt just, it's unbearable. And we all know it's because, yes, she played a very small role in the sense that she ignored that moment she saw. But for the guy, is, oh, he actually didn't have any quote unquote guilt or responsibility on it. But at the same time, is okay, you could be doing more for your grieving partner. And that's just, it's there, but at the same time, it's not enough.
you
He
cannot
just really doesn't get
hide
it right.
a
But
bit.
this is a constant Von Trier topic,
Yeah,
like the differences of how men and women treat or address different topics.
Yeah, but
That
it's
is
also a constant that you can see in all of Von Trier's movies. You can see women can manage and can, can go beyond the limits of their own skills in order to solve a situation, in order to, I don't know, figure out something or whatever, but they simply they simply fail.
you're starting to sound like Von Trier. They just fell.
They fail for a guy, you know? I mean, they fail for love. If that has a, if that's the name, love, is it love? Is it something else? I mean, is
Is
that
it
part of your
lust?
nature?
That's the
Okay.
other part. The movie focuses a lot on lust. That is also another topic that runs throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
This movie is really explicit when it comes to pleasuring yourself, others, etc. And and how you come to terms with how to satisfy that need versus also addressing other things in your life and keeping it balanced. There is just no balance at all in this movie, and that's fabulous because it is important to address it. And she was holding it back for quite a while. You could tell that's also why the bursts of this energy, and even more important, I'm kind of changing the topic, not changing the topic, but Laura, I want to hear your thoughts on the supernatural events or symbols that take place in the
Well,
movie.
definitely, this woman was actually making a huge research on past events in relation to women,
Yes. Yeah.
like how women were considered to be evil, how women were considered to be, part of all these demons that brought witchcrafts to Earth and so on, like we have actually a bunch of examples in history, and actually I consider that small touch at the end of the movie where all of these women appear as a
Uh-huh.
symbol of past women who have been judged in the same way. Just
They
because
were all freed. They were all freed by her actions. That's how I took it.
exactly. They were all freed by her actions. I mean, this this main character actually managed to go to fulfill, like, yes, you did.
Okay. To fulfill all of their destinies that all of them failed at, except her. I like
Exactly,
your
because
interpretation, Maria
she
Laura.
she
Yes.
faced this male opposing force, this male necessity of controlling something that by nature is given. I mean, you cannot.
Laura, do you know how many times I've researched online for, I'm not going to say a resolution, but somewhat of an interpretation of that ending, and it never made sense to me. I mean, not that it doesn't make sense. It, I never found a something that I felt an answer that I felt satisfied with. It's something again because it's very open, so it's actually many different people will interpret it different ways. But I love your interpretation. I love it. I
Thank
had
you,
not made
thank
that small connection with her studies. Yes.
thank you, thanks a lot. But the thing is, I mean, obviously, Lars von Trier is not gonna come with a soft way to say things, And through his whole ideals of women, there is the fact that he portrays women as strong as they are, okay? But of course, all women and all men are human beings, that are weaknesses, that are mistakes, that are, you know, all this bunch of things we're made of, So
I don't even, and again, I don't even think he portrays women just as strong women, but rather, uh, you said it afterwards, as who they are. I saying they're strong, they're flawed, they're imperfect, they are strong-willed, they can be weak, they
and
can be all things,
and
all of it.
very important. And maybe I'm going to be judged after this.
Oh my
But
god,
this is a woman talking. We are hysterical.
are you a woman? Really?
I think so. I'm not pretty sure about that. But
The
that's a
lesbians
topic for
are
another show.
still considered women? Yeah,
I
but exactly.
identify myself as a woman.
That's important. That's important to say, in the fact that, in the sense that, yes, women can be hysterical, and also men. Who cares?
Right.
Yes, that's
Also,
that's the point. I agree, and I love that about Von Trier. He represents women in all of their purity, the good, the bad,
and
everything.
you
That's
and on this movie in particular, not in other ones, because actually in the other ones you can see that, that there's I mean, finally women uh, take control of a situation, and they end up like,
we're
and
not changing the topic. But did you watch Melancholia?
of course, yes.
Okay, the
Oh yeah,
controlling.
Dogville,
Good.
Breaking the
Hold
Waves.
on. Very different. Yeah, no, very different. That's a different video at some time in the future. But yes, yeah, this is
So,
absolutely yes. I don't know. I mean,
but in this one, Freddie, let me finish this idea. In this particular, both characters are taken to their limits. Both, even him, who is the
yeah,
guy who
even
takes
him is
control,
yeah.
and he always tells her, I love you, I'm here with you, I'm not gonna leave you
Right.
alone, and all
Yeah.
that. No, honey, no. Even that character failed in front of the situation.
Mhm.
Notice the I don't remember if it's the first chapter or the second that they no, the second they go to this place, and the chapter is called Eden. Okay, and remember that Eden, it's I mean, religiously talking, it's
Yeah, there are
place
references,
of
religious references throughout. Yeah.
the place for creation, for being born, and it's the place for life and for beauty and for. But notice the way Von Trier takes that conceptualization of the whole thing, and he makes completely the opposite. It's a place for falling apart,
No,
for.
but that's part of it. Remember, the religious references. Adam and Eve, they were kicked out of Eden because they literally did the one thing they were asked not to do. So again, there was no condition here, but there is a chaos is also a big and anti-nature as well. That's also, these two things play a big role. I mean, it's very well represented when the
Good
fox is
nature.
eating itself. Don't you remember? That was absolutely unnatural. That does not happen in nature. And yet he chose to very strongly showcase it. So he's saying here, you could see it as foreshadowing of
You
what's going to happen.
said that.
This is
Let me
what,
interrupt you here.
yeah,
Have
go.
you seen an animal in pain about to die? Have
Yeah, but
you seen that before?
yes, but at the same time, it is in pain. It's about to die, but it's not. It's not so much. And this is another thing. We don't know what happened to the animal. What I interpreted was the animal was eating itself.
The
Not so much
Antichrist
that it
did
was about to die.
itself because he was about to die. So that was the
Or
only
did
resource
he's
he had at
eating
hand.
himself and
What
that's why he's
with
dying? I
with that?
interpret it the other way.
Oh,
Regardless,
okay.
regardless, it's just unnatural. So either interpretation leads to the same conclusion. I'm
Exactly.
showing you there is no order. Nature right now is not what's supposed to be, and he also shows that with the characters and chaos. I mean that's also there's a lot of chaos, and these words are very light compared to what happens in the last act of the movie. But that's the whole point.
Which is again, it's the most natural. I mean, the most the closest interpretation to nature I've seen since a while ago, you know?
Yes, because everybody thinks of nature like, oh, the birds chirping, everything. That's false. Nature is relentless.
Else
You,
itself.
you go to nature and stay out there for 1 week with no supplies, nothing, you will not survive because we are already part of a society where everything is readily available through us, through money, of course. You work, you get the money, and you just go and buy it. Nature believes in no money. Nature only believes in a certain set of skills we no longer have. So yes, it's a very raw the portrayal of nature, and that's also another topic: nature against humanity. I also think they showcase, hey, this is how your instincts. I think it really goes back to how your sexual drive, your instinct, your survival, catering to that raw desire inside. That's it. All of it. It's just calling for raw nature, even inside the characters. Well, mostly the female character. Oh,
I guess, it's with this movie, Von Trier said, okay, stop romanticizing nature because it isn't like that. Okay?
and nature, including human nature.
Exactly. Nature, the way we see it, with other living entities and, with uh, providence from the earth and all that, and being born. Okay?
Mhm.
So it's not that romantic thing. Actually, uh, notice the way he enhances how even the slightest sounds might be uncomfortable for the characters. I remembered you when you told me I don't like the mountains, and then I said, this is the reason why Freddy doesn't like to go to the mountains.
I
It's
don't think
so
it's because of
chaotic.
the but I can relate. Yes, I again most likely, very ironically, I can relate to this representation of nature just because I I respect it. A lot of people feel, oh, I don't know, let's go to the beach, let's go to the mountains, stay there a few days. No, I don't want to struggle. I don't. I'd rather stay at home.
And
Uh,
yeah,
but it's because of that. I know. I already know nature is not this welcoming place that everybody sees. It's of course
it's
the,
as
the way
dangerous
people
as
talk
human
about
beings.
the way people talk about nature is the way it's presented to them as in, oh, let's go to the national park, but that society took over.
Yeah.
That's not really nature. Let's go to the beach, of course, where everybody goes. There is already a road. There's probably somebody selling stuff. There is this shade for you to sit at. So
That's
that's
not
not
bad.
nature. That's not nature.
And
You want the digested version of nature. Lars Von Trier shows you raw nature. Do you really want to come here? No. Well, at least not me.
so that was my interpretation. I said, okay, perfect. That's the reason why the movie is called Antichrist, because it's a completely opposite version of what everyone thinks of what Eden is, what creation and nature and humans are, you know? It's everything completely the opposite. It's like, okay, let me show you the dark side of it. Okay?
See, yes, the everybody interprets or thinks the movie is diabolical or something just because of the name, when actually
Yeah.
there are religious references, but there is absolutely no play with
It,
any actual diabolical characters or possessions. Nothing. No, this is just human nature and nature itself.
and
And
even that level of irrational behavior this woman is having, and actually the guy, right at the end of the movie, it's completely understandable because
thank you. Given the circumstances,
instruction of this behavior, okay? I
yeah,
mean, it doesn't
exactly.
come out of nothing. It comes for many reasons.
The emotions. Of course, the actions that are taken, even the ones closer to the end, most likely, yes, they are very extreme, but out of that frustration, out of that in all combination of emotions she particularly has,
Okay.
look, I'm pretty sure anybody would snap and do something similar. So, gentlemen, yes,
And
be
exactly.
thankful.
And if you don't do something similar, at least you think about it, you know?
Which is another thing that goes unsaid. Yes, exactly. When you're in that moment of rage, you just want to.
Mine says, I mean, what this guy does is to, you know, to enhance the fact that women have been judged in a very wrong and hard way throughout history, and this character makes all of them that valuable and that dignified because we understand that at some point every single human being can easily fall into irrational things just because of trauma. Okay, trauma is actually the protagonist of the whole story, you know? You think I felt like trauma was a witness of these two people doing what they were doing during the movie. So trauma was kind of a person, you know, having
I
fun.
mean, trauma. It is trauma is definitely, yes. Now that you put it that way, trauma is definitely the main character is introduced to you at the very beginning, the very few minutes, and that's the other part. It's very artistically portrayed, so you can tell, hey, this is gonna be important because again, that he also has that. He those shots, I know for a fact, at the very first minutes of of the movie, they are shown as very delicate, very, I don't know, when compared to the rest of the movie, you can tell there was a lot of care put into those shots
Yeah.
and the way they were presented. So when the movie changes dynamic, you can tell, oh, okay, something happened here. And as the movie goes on, I think you will always go back to those first few minutes because of how it was portrayed. You know, there is a very big difference between this and everything else.
Okay.
So it's gonna stay in your head, and agreed with you. That is the catalyst to the entire movie. And even more importantly, it's the reason why the entire thing happens. And it's always present. It's ever present. So, and that's called trauma, people. When you, even in the future down the line, you start doing things and you still go back to, oh, but it's because this happened. You're traumatized. You need to get over it.
Okay. There is a
It's
problem
haunting
with
you.
it. Exactly.
Yes.
And trauma is the problem. How do you face it? It, you know, not only how you face it, I mean, it's the fact that maybe those that, you know, that protection circle you're surrounded by is not that protective, you know? It doesn't collaborate, but it
I mean, it
actually,
could be protective, but even more importantly, is it overprotective? because that's the other part. Are you actually facing reality, or just the um again, the version they allow you to see? And again, this is going to go on personal territory, but yes, you sometimes need to be get out of that circle just so that you face actual reality. And oh, I actually don't react accordingly to what's in front of me because of past traumas. You could say, and again, some people will say, well, past experiences, not necessarily trauma. But look, if they constantly make you react the wrong way or act in, again, not accordingly, clearly it's a negative experience, and you're afraid of something similar happening again, when you can easily get over it, look past it, and make a better decision right now in the present. So that's called trauma. Yes.
Cold trauma. Definitely. If it disturbs your regular functionality, it's trauma. As simple as that. Okay? Call it
And
past experiences or call it, I don't know. Or it's some people who say, no, it's just the way I am. I mean, come on.
oh, I mean, it could very much be the way you are, but then you are the way you are because you're carrying trauma with you.
Exactly.
So the fact that's how you are doesn't mean you could do better. I'm not going to say you're wrong, or that's bad, because that's very relative. But there is always ways to, reach a better version of yourself. So if a lot of people are pointing out here, hey, there might be a an issue, a problem with this particular aspect or facet of you, it's worth reconsidering. You don't have to change. You don't have to change because other people tell you. But when look inside and say, is this gonna, is this the way I'm acting because of this one thing that happened many years ago and I'm still thinking about it when I make decisions? Yes, you might want to reconsider.
Let me ask you a few questions. What would have happened if it was him who saw the baby right before it fell
I
on
don't. I
its
think
heart?
men have an easier time getting over these kind of situations because, again, going back to how societal expectations are different for men than women. I don't think a guy would have, yes, uh oh, I could have done something, but I didn't, and look past it and move on. I think, and this is okay, and we're going deeper. This might also have to do with the mother instinct, because that's something, and again, I'm no doctor, but it is very well known that mother behavior is instinct, is it's a very thing, it's commonly related to females.
Okay.
However, for male, I'm not saying a there cannot be a paternal
So,
instinct.
yeah, but, uh, as a matter of fact, in order to close up, I just wanted to say that Megapixel is also part of the show.
That's a lovely way to close. Yes.
And
Oh,
this is cool. This is cool. No, as a matter of fact, again, it's Lars Von Trier, and it's a director that has, I mean, to me, is one of the best ones because his perspective and the way he portrays, uh, existential realities and human nature, it's marvelous. It's marvelous. I don't think any other director appeals to me the way he appeals. Uh, Simply because, I mean, he doesn't use like that much in order to make of a huge reality, a huge message. It's
he knows what he wants to do. He has a vision, and the cast. cast. I mean, that's the other part. Honestly, it's just two actors pretty much throughout the entire movie, and I mean, Willem Dafoe and Gainsbourg, Charlotte Gainsbourg. I mean,
She's
Gainsbourg
marvelous.
is a favorite of his, and I mean, Willem Dafoe. What hasn't he done in his life? He is both are very accomplished actors, and they are great on screen.
Yes.
The camera loves them. I love them. You love them too. So
Yes.
perfect, perfect.
And
The
the
cat.
way the movie begins, I mean, all those marvelous shots. I mean, I can easily imagine all those shots at framed on one of my walls, like, as pieces of art,
And
because
not even just those. Remember, there is a point when they're traveling to the cabin.
yeah,
Those I love it. They're ghostly. They make you feel eerie. You just get it. That
exactly.
transition, it's just it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's marvelous, and it's beautiful. Just visually, very entertaining. Yes, and amusing.
I mean, you can easily watch the movie on mute and you will still enjoy it
Yes,
from
you
beginning to
will get you will get the plot. You would still be highly impressed. I don't think it would be the same experience because sometimes the music really adds to it, but at the same time, look, making a movie work possibly without the audio, it's also a huge accomplishment. And
end.
sometimes it's muted, not muted. There is no background music just because but they really want you just to focus on what's going on. Of
Exactly.
course, there is some sound direction because you could hear nature, but there's no necessarily music. Just
Exactly.
to get you to involve you into the experience.
Yeah.
So
And the
it's
way
perfect.
I consider part of that involvement is the fact that, these two characters, in most of the scenes, they're speaking in a very soft in a very soft pace, So it's kind of okay, that level of softness is also intriguing because,
Yes,
oh my God, I mean, and then you start paying more attention just because you cannot listen to them very well and you want to hear more, you know?
there is a section of the movie. Yeah, their speech for whatever reason. I mean, I don't think that there's whatever reason it's intended. I'm not gonna say for whatever reason. There is always intent in his movies. He's a great director, so
Yeah,
it's probably to make you feel that nature involvement, or even the fact that it's not necessary to hear what they're saying to understand the emotion.
exactly.
So that could also be part of it. Um, but regardless, it's something we get. Speaking of getting, look at Mega. Mm,
Came to say goodbye.
don't cut it. Yeah, don't leave it. Don't cut it. Just leave it in. We love her. We love Mega here
I won't ever cut it. In fact, I'm gonna add some speech bubbles with her dialogue.
because she's giving her opinion too. Yes.
Of
Okay.
course, she
I
has
love
an
it.
opinion. That's why she's here.
Okay. So, Maria Laura, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yes,
Um, I hope you, the viewer, also had a great time listening to our
definitely.
humble opinion. Um, Again, this is our unfiltered thoughts on this movie. You can expect more on our next episode.
Yes.
And thanks for watching. This has been Maria Laura. What's the name?
Thank you so much for coming and coming and go movie talks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Um, we're gonna keep talking about movies. It's very important for you guys to know that we might eventually spoil the whole movie. Okay, so
Eventually, we,
if you're here, it's because at some point we don't understand why you like the way we are expressing our ideas here. Okay, and thank you for being here. Really. that we really appreciate it. We love talking about movies, and we hope you talk about movies too. What? What?
Like and subscribe. Of course. Comment, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.
And please, if you have a bad comment, write it. We want to know
Yeah,
everything in mind.
we like
Want-
actually express your opinion. It doesn't have to be a bad comment or not. Just express your opinion. We're interested in seeing what others might think of the movie because
Okay.
we'll be honest. We know we have very particular taste when it comes to pretty much everything. So
Exactly.
that
Yes. Always expect spoiling and sarcasm. Two S's. That's it.
bye. Thanks for watching. Go
Thank
movie talks.
you. Goodbye, people. See you.
Thanks for watching. Go Movie Talks.